Hey guys, what's going on? Shaba the Lion here, and we are here today with a Mufasa the Lion King video. Now, as y'all, every Lion King fan should know, this film is coming out next year. I'm very excited for it. And before I dive in, let's just talk about what this video is going to be about. For the meantime, this video is going to be some of my predictions, maybe some conspiracies on this film. I'm releasing this video before D23 in the event that they do release the actual teaser trailer for Mufasa the Lion King at D23, which I do predict to happen. Um, it's either going to probably be then or sometime late fall, but I would not, since this is the 100th anniversary of Disney this year, I would not be surprised seeing it release at D23. Um, so anyway, I will get this video out before then. Obviously, you'll see it. And let's just dive right in. So basically, we're just going to go through some predictions, conspiracies. But first, we're going through some news. A lot of this isn't really new, but there are some things that I guess are not talked about enough that I would like to discuss. Um, so anyway, right here, we have some interesting things. So as you can see, Mufasa Lion King, this is actually taken. These are screenshots taken right off of IMDb. But what I found interesting, and a lot of this will line up, so a lot of this I'll kind of goes along with each other. A lot of this news and even the conspiracies and rumors and stuff. The thing is, some of these events have to be true because a lot of them overlap between multiple different people and accounts, and I'll go through that in a minute. But basically, what you see here is just some general news stuff you probably already knew. For example, right here we've got some of the voice cast already announced. Not that many people at the minute, but that have been announced. But as you can see right here, Kelvin Harrison Jr., Taka. It says, and the fact that it says Taka on IMDb is very interesting. That was known that they were going to use Scar's original name, being Taka. Um, Although it was known from when they announced it, pretty much. Um, but a lot of people didn't believe it at first, didn't think they were going to. But it's pretty much at this point confirmed that Taka is going to be used. Um, they also have right here. I've taken this off, which this plot, and this is very interesting. And I know many people are talking about is this plot summary that was released on IMDb that states Simba, having become king of the Pride Lands, is determined for his cub to follow in his paw prints, while the origins of his late father Mufasa are explored. To me, that screams double timeline, and that was what was discussed by the director, and we'll see in a second. But this basically, this little plot summary determines it. Now, there's one thing that is very huge in this plot line. It says Simba, having become king of the Pride is determined for his cub. Let's see that. His cub. Right here. Right here. His cub. To follow in his paw prints. Who is that cub? I have some theories, but again, these are just preliminary predictions, rumors, etc. And we'll go through those in a second. For right now, we're going to go through a little bit more news. Again, not really news considering the fact that this has pretty much all been talked about before. As you see here, these are quotes from Screen Rant, and a lot of these quotes kind of overlap on various other media sources. But as you can see here, it says those movie takes place mostly before The Lion King, and that was what we already knew, being Mufasa. It's Mufasa the Lion King. Well, here's what's interesting: the fact that Timon and Pumbaa are in it. And you can actually, if I go back to this, you can see them listed: Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner. Now, here's the thing: they will apparently from this quote it says Timon and Pumbaa will narrate the movie, which is very interesting to me. I would almost see, my mind wants to view that as Lion King 1.5 in the way that they narrated the movie there. But at the same time, I don't really get it if that's what they're doing. I hope that's actually not what they're doing, and there's a few reasons why. But basically, what was also confirmed to be is Rafiki will return, which makes sense. I mean, that'll be interesting. I wonder if we'll see a young Rafiki too. Who knows? But right here, Barry Jenkins hinted there will be this is a big one, other familiar characters featured in the prequel. What does that mean? Who else could they feature in a Mufasa prequel? And I'll get in again. I'll rumor what some of those characters are in a second, or I'll talk about it. But I'll talk about what ones I could not really be surprised seeing. The second thing we have here from Barry Jenkins, and just talking about the interview they did with him, is the fact that, which we already knew, he said the new Lion King movie, which is Mufasa Lion King, is not just a prequel. It's going to be told similar to Godfather Part 2, in that there's two timelines, like I was saying before, being told parallel to each other. And I'll get into how I think that might work in a second. But it means that this movie could also, um, honestly, that really makes me more excited about this film. The fact that it's told in two timelines. There's a lot more room for a lot of lore, and not just that, a lot of answers from other pieces of the Lion King community that at least pieces that we have been asking to be answered. So we'll have to see how that goes. Third one here we have is the first trailer for the Mufasa prequel has not been released to the public. But here's the thing. What a lot of people don't get is there has been preliminary footage of this film released. And this is why I also think they're going to release the trailer at D23 this year, because it's the 100th anniversary, because they released the preliminary footage last year, as it says right here, shown exclusively at 2022 Disney Expo. I believe that we will see the trailer drop at D23 this year. I could be wrong. I spelled Rafiki wrong. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, so anyway, but yeah, that's why I think it will probably happen at this expo. Other reason is this footage, and I'll go into the footage that was shown in a minute. There's various accounts. I have, again, take this with a grain of salt, because one of the things I'm going to show you is a Reddit post. However, it lines up pretty similarly with every other account I've been able to find on this subject. So basically, as it says here, the footage was reported to show, and this is in the official article, reported to show include narration by Rafiki about life of Mufasa, as well as showing how young Mufasa swept away in his family from his family by a flood. Now, keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that apparently, and there was a quote to back this up, Mufasa is an orphan from what I understand. Again, tell me off in the comments if I'm wrong, but that lines up with the flood situation and a bunch of other things I'll talk about in a second. So anyway, we're going to be quickly going into some analysis based upon what was said, basically. And what we'll first start with is this. And these are when we get into some of the rumors and predictions. So, but hear me out, because some of these are pretty good. But anyway, we're going to get started with this Reddit post, which I've already pulled up right here. So anyway, it's going to be kind of hard to read this, but it's a little bit cut off on the side, but just bear with me here. Detailed description, part you can't really see is the part that says a detailed description of the new Lion King trailer showed at D23. So last year's D23. I'm sorry. So basically, it's talking about a YouTuber. This guy, I guess, this is on the thread r/Lion King, by a user named Rain Stark, and he or she decided to cover this already. But I'm just going to briefly go through this. But if you want to check this out and read the whole thing for full, it talks about what the YouTuber, a lot of what these accounts had seen. It's very, 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 let me just say very, what's the word? It goes along with all the other accounts. It's very parallel. So basically, it starts with the camera and blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to go through the main parts right here. Advances lot, we see a cub lying on a rock, which is interesting. And I'm assuming, just based on some of the other things written in this, it's going to be Mufasa. And then when the raindrop falls on it, we're able to see Mufasa's reflection, as it says. And then, this is, again, taken all with a grain of salt. But the fact that we're going to talk about again is suddenly big storm, flood that comes and swallows the cub. And basically it goes underwater. So I'm assuming it's like a bobbing kind of like scene that they did. I don't know, similar to the scene in, if you think about the Lion Guard in the scene where Kion is kind of swept underwater and stuff. I'm assuming it's going to be kind of similar to that in a way. Just obviously being not like 2D animation, but um, and the fact of how the camera follows like the scene of like getting washed away. But basically, what I'll talk about here is the fact that how it kind of confirms those events that were talked about that were shown in that trailer thing. But here's the thing: it also talks about is it also talks about them. It doesn't say it in this article, but there's other accounts that talk about talking to a young cub, and we already know there's going to be a young cub of Simba in this film somewhere. Now, here's the thing. It's very interesting at the end of, and this could just be anything. If you look at if you look at Simba and it's interesting. If you look at Simba in the beginning of The Lion King 2019, his eyes seem to be more blue. But if you look at him later on, obviously they're the right color. They're dark amber color. And here's the thing, though, about this: the cub at the end of the film of Lion King 2019. The eyes. What is the eye color you see here? It's very hard to see, but if you want to look for yourself, they are blue. They are blue eyes on this cub. That could only mean a couple things. I mean, again, I'll go into those things in a second, so you'll see. So anyway, yeah, ignore this. This is just, again, hastily put together. But so anyway, here are my character cub rumors or conspiracies. Most likely, so as far as rumors, and I'll go through these right now. First cub we're gonna get to, as far as who that cub may be, and that's what I really want to get to in this film. Who is that cub that is mentioned? Well, it's obviously speculation right now, but there's a couple that I think have more of a chance than anything. Kiara. I mean, it's obvious. If they wanted to go the route of the Lion King, it's most likely it could be. If they wanted to go the route of the Lion King, and even connect it into how she because we did have the Lion King even though, but it is a canon series. If we wanted to connect her to any events in the Lion King universe, it makes sense to have Kiara. It sets up the events for what she's being taught for as the next leader of the Pride Lands. And pretty much, it connects the stories between Mufasa and her. You ever hear the song "He Lives in You"? There, I mean, who knows if we'll see that? It'd be amazing to see that song in this film, but again, I don't know. That's another thing about this film. I was gonna get into at some point. What could the songs be? Well, we're not gonna get into that until we see the trailer, and I will put a reaction out also when that trailer comes out. So you'll see my face reveal. Anyway, so it sets the events up kind of parallels with Mufasa. Would not be surprised, however, to see Kion make an appearance alongside her. And I say that because, for a couple reasons. Number one, it could be speculation, and I told you everything in this would be. But this part where it says, other familiar characters featured in the prequel, now that could just mean, I don't know, that could just mean Sarabi, that could mean, whoever, would be in Mufasa's timeline. But I want to also think about who could be in Simba's timeline that would make an appearance. I think that's a very big, big thing. So again, if it's about Taka, I say Scar here, but Taka and Mufasa, it could explain. It would make sense for siblings and then siblings in the timeline to kind of transition. It'd make a nice transition. As far as another character, I gotta talk about it, guys. Copa. I honestly think if they wanted to introduce Copa into Lion King, into actual film, this would be the place to do it. Why he could make an appearance? Well, for the most part, Copa is a lot of times portrayed with blue eyes, as you see here. Blue eyes. I don't know what to say. And again, could be speculation. Again, there was an error with the blue eyes with, I guess you could say, or could be glare or whatever with Simba in the beginning of the film. But honestly, I would not be surprised to see Copa. I would actually say it's pretty high likely, along with Kiara. Um, I could see him as a Cub, or I could see somehow post credit scene. I do think Cub is more likely, since we are going to see a Cub of Simba's at some point, as they have said in this film. But basically, why would they include this? Well, justice to the fandom. Here's the thing about Disney, though. I don't think they don't really care about us. I hate to say it, but for the most part, they don't. So I would really appreciate. I would really think if they wanted to make a good impact, they would include Copa. The reason they could also include Copa is technically this. A lot of people don't understand this. This live action, or I call it live action. I'm just gonna call it that as what it is. Of the new Lion King films, is a new universe. It is a new universe. Um, the separate universe from the animation. So it's actually technically could be even separate from the Lion Guard. But so they could easily introduce Copa because as far as they're concerned, the events of Lion King 2 have not happened in this universe. So you could actually change those events, introduce Copa. You could also not have to recognize the Lion Guard, as that is accordance to the animated originals universe. If they introduce stuff that kind of coincides with the Lion Guard, which I doubt they would do, but if they do, and they very well could, that would be very interesting. Actually, there was another quote by the director that explains that. Basically, he was talking about how, I wish I had this quote, but you can actually go find it, by Barry Jenkins, how there was a lot of, or talks about, not a quote, but actually, oh yeah, that's what it was on. It was on the, here, hold on. So yeah, it was on the Reddit. And basically what that means is it talks about, if you notice right here, if I can find it, hold on, I'm just going backtracking a little bit, guys. Right here. Now, again, taken with a grain of salt, but Hypos, in an interview, the director says script Disney gave him had a lot of things he didn't even know existed in Lion King lore, and that excites me. That is why I think that Copa or someone else crazy could very well make an appearance. Although, as this person as well acknowledges, if this is a true thing, he might not have very well seen much Lion King, so who knows? The fact that they say getting some Lion Guard in some form here, I don't know about that, but that is a pretty extreme stretch. But I do think that we could definitely easily see at least possibly Copa. I would think this would be a good film to see him introduced. If we are going to see some Lion Guard stuff, though, I could definitely see Kion making an appearance as a cub. I could definitely see it in this film. However, I don't think if they did Kion as a cub, I think at some point they're going to have to. I think that's the least likely at this point. It would do justice to the Lion King series, especially it's mainly the Lion Guard. Even though it's a very great series, it would do even more justice to it, especially the fact that they did end it. Possibly, if they showed this, that might give us some speculation that they are going to continue. Maybe not like everyone says season 4, but maybe a Tree of Life series. That would be the most, I would think, the most making sense, basically. Now here's the thing: if Taka is the original, if they do show him as a Lion Guard leader, I think Kyan's got more of a chance in this film. However, this is a different universe, so that means that since it is a different universe, they might just disregard the fact of the original where Taka is in the Lion Guard. They could just ignore that, and I could see that really easily happening anyway. And then finally, a new cub entirely could be introduced. So as far as the cub rumors go, it could just be completely new. Again, new universe, could be someone completely new. Actually, that opens a lot of room up and a lot of room for fandom, honestly. So that would actually not be a bad thing, especially if they're going to do the thing that they announced that everyone knows about, which is possible big time franchise universe, which honestly most people are not happy about. I'm really happy about. I think it'll work perfectly if they do it the right way. So anyway, other character rumors There are a few other character rumors that I will talk about here. As you can see, Zira, I could easily see her making an appearance. Easily. And there's a few reasons why. She would be a perfect transition between the events of Mufasa's timeline and after the fact, since they are doing the double timeline, and that is because she's alive. I mean, in at least in the 2D universe, again, this is a different universe, but in the 2D one, she is alive for Lion King 2. So if they wanted to, she would be an easy way to introduce and keep. We would also be able to see a young Zira, which would be very, very interesting to see. Because I have a feeling that the original timeline with Mufasa and Taka, it's going to focus probably on Mufasa, yeah, but I have a feeling it's also going to have some backstory with Taka as well, and that's where we'll likely see this. But anyway, again, bridge gap. I would not be surprised to see Zira and Scar's relationship grow as a result of Mufasa's actions, so that could be, again, just other events that could happen in relation to Mufasa's growing up, etc. And the fact that he's, from what I know at least, or can infer, that he's not of royal blood, as far as what's been described, which is very interesting to the timeline. Of that fact, I would say that basically I could see why Scar or Taka is going to turn to Scar in a little bit. But what will be interesting is to see how they explain how he gets his scar and all that stuff. So that'll be interesting. But anyway, speculation. Kovu. Oddly enough, I think he's got a very big all these characters on this I think have a very good chance. Kovu, definitely think could have an appearance. Now, you could either have an appearance as a cub somehow, if they decide to focus a lot on Simba's timeline after, and as well as Mufasa's. But I think the most likely appearance we see Kovu, if he appears in this film, will be in a post-credit scene. Now, here's the thing. It would be perfect for them to include this. Why? Well, if you put him in a post-credit, you have the cub. If you were going to do the Kiara, if you had emphasis on Kiara, emphasis cubs, especially as Kiara, at the end of the film in relation to Mufasa, I think that would be a perfect transition to introduce, for another film, Kovu and a post-credit scene. Not only for hype, but also to make these events kind of full circle and explain how a new story is beginning. I think it would, and there's a bunch of other ways to do it, but I think honestly Kovu has people might probably going to say no, but I would say Kovu has a very, very high chance of happening, especially with a post-credit scene, if they were to do one. And I would think that would be the most, as a cub, but I'll explain why it could be like that, but in a post-credit scene, I think is the most likely. Nala's father, Serafina. Nala's father, again, in Lion Guard, is one of the things that annoyed me. They never gave him a name, but it does disprove the theory that I hate, that most fans have, that the disgusting theory, in my opinion, that Mufasa is Nala's father. I would, again, discredit that theory. It's what lions do. I get it in real life, but in Lion Guard, they disproved that. But again, they could go off of it in this film. It's a new universe, like I said. Serafina, I could definitely see in Nala's father being in this film, mainly due to their age ranges compared to Mufasa and Sarabi, but also the fact of, I guess, if they go into Mufasa, I kind of want to understand why, as you said, they're arranged marriage, or supposed to be arranged, Simba and Nala. I would like to understand why that is. So maybe they're close friends of the royal family. I don't know. But we could, who knows? We could see their parents and then a cameo. I do think if Uru and Hadi, I think are very likely if they use those names, given they are the canon parents of Mufasa and Scar. So these are pretty much a given, almost, unless they change the names. So these are pretty much a given. But as we go down to our last little bit of general storyline trailer predictions, here we go. So, as I said, I believe the teaser trailer is either going to be, this is why I'm getting this video out now, I believe this teaser trailer is going to be released at D23, 2023, or late October or November. Somewhere around those dates probably is my predictions. We'll see if those are correct. This one I think is actually a lot more likely, but we'll see. Storyline. So there's a couple storyline predictions I have for this film, and we'll see if these come or any remotely close to what it actually will be. Storyline prediction A: a prequel told from perspectives after the fact. So basically, this is going to take place as a narrating type film where Mufasa's and Taka's childhood is talked about, and we see all the events unfold, and how for the whole film in equal portions, flashing back to present day with Timon and Pumbaa, maybe Simba and his cubs. This is probably a likely scenario, but I do think it's not. I do think since they did announce how it's going to be a kind of told 2 time frames, I think it's not going to be the same. I do think that it's likely or possible to see some of the characters here. I would definitely see with this kind of a timeline. Kiara is likely, Kyan's likely, even them both. They said 1 cub, but that doesn't mean that they necessarily have to only do 1. You could have another one in there somewhere. Zira could also be in that. Storyline prediction B: a prequel that defines a sequel. So basically, what this means is, kind of again, like kind of going off Godfather 2 in a way. You kind of have it, but this time it's only part and part of the film. So basically, part of the film is dedicated to Mufasa and Taka's childhood, and the other part of the film is dedicated to the story of Simba's cub and how that relates back to the events. And I could definitely see. I could definitely. I'm sorry. Hold on. Is that the? Oh no, that's this one. I'm sorry. That's storyline. Let's go through that in a second. Storyline prediction C is what I was talking about there. So, well, actually, storyline prediction B. I'm getting ahead of myself. Storyline prediction B is actually talking about how it's the focus of the film, and basically the entire focus. This is. Let me go through these. Yeah. So this is basically. I kind of get these mixed up. So A is actually just a prequel. So prequel basically meaning how it's told all into Mufasa's timeline, not much except for the fact of afterward. Storyline prediction B would be the fact of what I was talking about, where it kind of takes part in equal parts throughout the film, talking about the scenes of Simba's cub or cubs and Mufasa and Taka's childhood. Storyline prediction C would be that a prequel, which is also a sequel. So basically, that's going to be directly half and half. So the first half of the film will take place in Mufasa and Taka's childhood, explaining and is the main focus of the film. But the second half kind of serves as a sequel to The Lion King 2019, where we transition to the events of Simba's cubs. Again, this is more exciting to me. I would love for this to be the one, because then that gives us a prequel, but also gives us a latter half that serves as a newer rendition of Lion King 2, or a very new Lion King 2 in its own. Again, storyline prediction D, all new events entirely. I can't, obviously, these are just predictions or theories, but I do think out of all these, I think the fact of equal portions probably is most likely right here. Storyline prediction B. And I do think that we will see, again, you can see the characters if they decide to go through the new rendition or whatever. You could definitely see other characters like Vitani and Nuka and other people. I do think that storyline prediction B is the most likely. I do think that it's going to be obviously Mufasa and Taka childhood, focus the entire film, and we'll see the events of post Lion King 2019 with the cub mentioned, wherever that is, or even with the cub mentioned, and then later on we'll see cubs. Who knows? But I do think that we'll see, if this is the case, I do think the characters we could, and I really would hope to see, would be Kiara and Zira being in the early, and even in a post-credit scene with Zira and Kovu. And I could definitely see that, again, they could do that and then make another film after this. But I do think that's the general predictions. Anyway, as you see, these are my predictions for Mufasa Lion King. So basically, that is all I have to say. Kind of started a little bit for this video, but thank you for watching. please like and subscribe, and I will see you all later.